Well, hello, and welcome to the Because I Love You podcast. I'm Bria. Really glad you're here. So, man, I'm really wanting to talk about this one today. This podcast is for everybody. Let me make that clear. But before it's for everybody, it's for the girls. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's for the girls. And I think more than ever right now, we need the girls to be there for each other. If you're catching my drift. If we don't look out for each other, who is? Who's gonna look out for us? Nobody. Let me tell you. Spoiler, look around. Okay, the answers are everywhere. Women are oftentimes secondary. If I do anything with my content and with my podcast, it's to empower you. It's always been to empower you. But especially if you're a woman, I feel like I really need to have some heart-to-hearts with you guys because yeah, we need each other and we need to wake the fuck up. Can I just be honest with you? We need to wake the fuck up about the reality of the way the world works. And one thing I really don't like is that I find the demeanor in women when they want to assert themselves or ask for something. We feel like we can't do that, you know? And there's so many aspects with being a woman where asking for something, like the bare minimum, feels like too much. And I'm sure we've all been in a position where we're like, man, you know, I really need this, but I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to bother. We're really socialized to be the caretakers, to be there for everyone else, but not ourselves. We're not socialized to learn how to take care of ourselves, to learn how to speak up for ourselves. There will forever be phases in your life where you are going to have to learn how to assert yourself, or you are going to get run the fuck over. You're going to get run over by your job. You're going to get run over by those damn kids that you love so much, but they will run you over too. Even your romantic partners. Because what people get away with, people get away with. Whatever standard you set is what people will learn to associate you with, right? And here's what I don't like. It seems like when we as women do assert ourselves, ask for the things we need, communicate that very directly and clearly, and we can do it with kindness, we're looked at as high maintenance. Or if we are assertive and direct, we're looked at as bitches. Let's be honest. Now, if a man did the same exact thing, came into the room asserting themselves, it would be expected. It would not be looked at as something that was too much or overly assertive or bitchy. It doesn't happen because that's just the lay of the land. Okay, people look at men as assertive and associate masculinity with that directness. So women are always over apologizing. I just wanted to check in. Are you able to do this? I know you're busy. It's okay if you can't. Oh my God. When I hear another woman talking like that, because I've done it myself, we've all done it. It makes me so sad. It makes me so sad because I never hear men talk like that. Think about it. Have you ever heard a guy who's like, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to check in on that. It's okay if you can't do it. Over apologizing. I rarely hear it. They just kind of ask for whatever they need and they're like, okay, cool. The drama is just not there like it is with us. I'm not here to debate whether you're a Swiftie or not, but that song, The Man, is probably the most accurate song in terms of spelling out the differences between when a woman does something that a man does. It is so completely demonized. So I wanted to obviously grab your attention with this title because I am playing in to the stereotype. I in no way ever believe that you are a bitch for asserting yourself. I want to make that very clear. So the title was clickbaity. I want to disclaim that. But I understand we can feel like we are bitches because that's what the world keeps telling us, and that's not fair. So first and foremost, the one thing we have to be okay with is letting people think that we are bitches. That's fine. I'll be a bitch if that's what you think I am. But I'm always going to be a kind one. I'm always going to be a kind bitch, okay? I am always going to do it with a smile and grace and respect And if you interpret that as bitchiness, that is a you problem, okay? And I want you to understand that in life, when you're doing stuff with respect and kindness and dignity, and if someone makes you feel like a bad person for asserting yourself in literally the best possible way that you can, in the most kind way that you can, and they still make you feel bad for that, that person is wrong, not you. We've got to start shifting the mindset that like we're always wrong, and we've got to stop accommodating to a system where it's never going to be enough. We have to stop accommodating to a system in which it will never be enough. Do you hear me? It doesn't matter how perfect, how nice you are. There's still someone who's getting what you want because they're like, fuck all that. Fuck all that noise. When I think of assertive women in my life, I can think of a few people off the top of my brain. Some of the most direct women that I've worked with. One in particular I used to work with. She was the CEO of an agency I was working with at one point, like a talent agency. She is one of the most direct people I've ever met in my life. And when I first met her, I was scared of her. She's an attorney, has an attorney background. But when I tell you, I think of her so often. I think of her anytime I need to assert myself. I am so thankful that I got to work with her because to this day, she's just someone that gets it. You don't meet a lot of women like her. She would straight up just go in on like my content and like what needed to change and what was wrong with it. And it was very direct and aggressive. And while I think there were some days we could have pumped the brakes there, I left a couple of those conversations in tears. Like she didn't know that, but you know, I haven't really been afforded that level of honesty in my life. And I'll tell you why I am grateful for it, because she was right and it did make me better. And the more I started to learn her personality, the more I kind of picked up some of her traits. She's on the far end of the spectrum, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to being assertive. I didn't need to be that assertive. But I definitely needed to speak up for myself more. I definitely needed to stand on business, as they say. So I learned a lot from her. And she's kind of like my go-to thought, like the little angel devil on my shoulder when I'm in the midst of something and I need to speak up for myself. I kind of think about like, what would she do? So a lot of this episode is kind of a curation of what I learned over the last few years in asserting myself, because being an influencer, I know people like to downplay the job, but I still have to speak up for myself a lot, because who is, you know? Yes, I have a manager, but I've had years of experience here now where some of my managers haven't been assertive and I've had to step in. Or even just being in rooms and asking for what I need when like someone's not there to help advocate for me, like I have to do that. When you're an entrepreneur especially, and you don't have a staff or you don't have all these other people, you have to really learn how to speak up and ask for what you need, right? And even when you do scale and grow as an entrepreneur, you still need to learn how to speak up for yourself with your employees or like people you work with. So it's something you can take anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or if you work, you know, wherever you work. You'll be able to use this as a wife, a girlfriend, a mom, a sister, a daughter-in-law, like in every aspect of your life, a friend, and you can do it with kindness. And that's what I want to remind you of with this video. So let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by No CD. All right, besties, let's get real for a second. So you know how I didn't realize I had ADHD for 30 years because my experience didn't match the stereotypes? Well, the same thing happens with obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. Stereotypes of OCD make a lot of people think it's all about needing to be really clean or organized. But in reality, OCD is totally debilitating and can look like disturbing, unwanted thoughts that conflict with your values, or fears that seem impossible to shake, and then physical or mental behaviors that you feel like you have to do to try to get rid of the anxiety from those thoughts and fears. It's not a personality quirk or being tidy. It's a serious condition that can completely consume someone's life. But it doesn't have to stay that way, because the good news is OCD is highly treatable. And that's why I want to tell you about No CD. No CD offers virtual therapy for OCD with licensed therapists who specialize in OCD, so they know how to provide the right kind of help for what you're going through. Every No CD therapist is trained in exposure and response prevention, or ERP. It's a type of therapy that was specifically designed for OCD, and it's considered the gold standard treatment. No CD also accepts many major insurance plans and offers always-on support between sessions, so you're never alone. If you think you might be struggling with OCD and want to learn more about therapy with No CD, go to nocd.com and schedule a free 15-minute call with their team. That's nocd.com to learn more and book a free 15-minute call. Trust me, bestie, reaching out for help is one of the biggest ways you can show up for yourself. This one is more so for you. It's kind of for other people, yes. But I want to be clear that it's more for you, okay? Because I'm not here to teach you how to be perceived by other people. You got to learn how to perceive yourself. But one thing I will tell you is your body language introduces you before you say anything. If you're walking up in a room looking like Eeyore, straighten up, stand up, okay? Again, it's not for them. I'm telling you this for you, because the second that you stand up a little straighter and hold your head a little higher, whether you're trying to or not, you're telling your brain something about the situation at hand. You are teaching your brain how to respond, right? So whenever I feel like I'm out of my element, I'll always make sure my posture's on point, because it really does work. And I want you to try it. The next time you're in an intimidating situation, or maybe you just get social anxiety when you're in large groups of people or meeting people, just try it. Try to focus on your posture and breathe a little slower and watch how calming your presence becomes. And you will have this sense of confidence that whether it's true or not, it's gonna at least go to your brain as you're feeling a little bit more secure. And that's going to also project in the room. Now, who cares about what people think? That's why I said I'm not focusing so much on how people perceive you, but I'm saying just try it and watch how you feel internally, and you will be like, wow, I really do feel a little different. There's a reason people sit up straight. Look at some of the people you admire the most and look at how they walk into a room. Look at how they project themselves. Okay? It's a really small change that if you do it over time, it'll become so normal to you. You won't have to think about it, but it will be very helpful. See, when Bubby walks into a room, he doesn't care what you think about him. He knows he's the cutest. And he's also the stinkiest. Tell him about your Frito scent. Yep, hot Fritos and garbage. Your breath smells like garbage. It really does. Okay. Saddy. The next thing about asserting yourself is it's obviously going to take some communication, right? Like you have to let people know what are your needs, right? But here's what I want to push you to do a little bit more. Be a little more clear on your directions, right? Don't just come to someone like, here's all the things I don't like and what I don't want. I want you to come with the solutions, okay? Because if you don't know your solutions, then no one else will. And part of being assertive is being sure of what you want and what you need. I'll give you an example. I think this works really great in relationships, right? Because I can't think of a situation more where I really, it matters to me a lot in my relationship with AJ, for example, to be assertive in what I need sometimes, but like never a bitch. But you know, sometimes I might be. Sorry, AJ, I'm just a girl. But what I am saying is I've learned in our relationship that it is helpful to come to the table with solutions for what you need. So I'll give you a recent example of how I used this in my relationship, and I thought that it went really well. We were moving, of course, and this was our third move together being in a relationship. Okay. The last couple moves were a breeze because I wasn't pregnant. Okay. We have roles in our relationship just like everyone else does, and I'm normally the planner. But since I've been pregnant, none of that shit matters, okay? We're in survival mode these days. And especially my first trimester, you know, even into the second trimester, I was struggling so bad. I was very sick. So I couldn't do a lot of the things I normally do. And while that was obvious, it still needed to be communicated, and that's totally fine with me because nobody is a mind reader. But we didn't have movers booked. We didn't have shit in a box. Things were not moving. And I am an anxious person. So I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. I need AJ to do the things that I would probably normally do, but I need to tell him that. I need to tell him that I need him to make phone calls to the moving companies. I need to tell him that I need him to help me pack the kitchen because, you know, I'm not doing it myself. Like sometimes you have to spell things out, and that's okay because at least you can say, I communicated my needs. So that was a conversation. I'm just not the kind of person that's like, well, you should know. That's not good for a relationship. Sometimes people just assume like you're going to do it. And also, I think the biggest issue in our situation was AJ really thought we could pack the week of. He thought that like I could do that. I can't do that. The way that this move looked this year was like I could pack a box or two a day and my body was like, no more. I would start to get terrible back aches. There's something called round ligament pains. My body wouldn't let me do the things I want. And it's frustrating for me because especially as someone like I go to freaking, before pregnancy, I was going to like solid core. Like I go hard in these workouts. I feel so out of shape right now. That's just like not something that I'm used to. So AJ knows I am normally a person who can do those things, but I have to tell him I can't do those things right now. Like my body's not letting me. So I want to be clear in saying that was our disconnect. And he was really receptive when I was like, hey, I feel really overwhelmed about this move. It's going to take much longer, especially packing like my stuff and the stuff we have in the common spaces because I can only do so much every day and we're not going to be able to do it the week of. And that was kind of like his light bulb, like, oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So me just saying that kind of helped him realize where I was. And then from there, we were able to create a plan. Like we literally have to create a plan. And I will say this, even with a plan like this, don't move pregnant. Like it's terrible. It's a chaotic shit show. And this was the worst move of my life. Okay. We had the movers come and even like a week later, we're still moving things because it took so long. It took so long. I'm not even going to get into it, but I will not be moving pregnant ever again. Okay. That was a mistake. It was a mistake on my part, but we had no choice. But we got it done. And I think the communication helped a lot. It could have been a lot worse, but it still wasn't perfect. That's all I'm saying. We were able to have that conversation though. My point is we were able to have that conversation with directness. I was able to communicate without being like, oh my God, I'm doing everything on my own. Like you got to do this. Like I could have, especially with these pregnancy hormones, I could have just like freaked out about the entire thing. And trust me, there were points where I did want to do that. I did want to cry. But I was like, this is not productive. He was very agreeable and understanding. So I'm like, cool. And when you're pregnant and emotional, all you want to do is be heard. You just want to be heard. So I have to remember that the way that I communicate, that dictates where the conversation goes. I think a lot of people don't realize that if you want change or you want someone to change their behavior, you want someone to like support you and help you, don't attack them. Don't attack them. You never have to attack anybody. You can be calm, you can be kind, and you can be cool, and you can say everything you need. Meet Aria, your go-to guide for all things sex and intimacy. Aria takes away the mental load of figuring out how to spice things up by doing the work for you and sending you everything you need. Aria makes it easy for couples to break out of routine, deepen emotional connection, and energize their relationship with curated experiences called scenes. Every piece of the scene experience is designed to be interacted with and shared. Just take a quick quiz about your relationship, and Aria's concierge will send you everything you need to explore something new every month. You'll get expert insights, step-by-step guidance, and a box of high-end goodies delivered right to your door. Aria takes care of the details so you can focus on each other. It's easy to get started with a fun, private quiz to understand you as a couple. Use what's in the box to think outside of the box. Visit arya.fyi and use code BCILY for 15% off today. So something else that's really helped me assert myself and also speak up for myself is when having conversations with people, especially like in the business sense, slowing down. I realized a nervous tic that I have that I picked up in childhood, and I don't like silence. I feel like I need to cover the silence. That's actually from something different. It's like a trauma response. It's crazy because, yeah, I'm not going to go into that. I'll save that for another episode. But silence makes me nervous, and I feel like it's my job to fill it and make everybody around me feel comfortable. But what happens when I fill the silence that doesn't need to be filled, when I jump that gun, sometimes I say things and agree to things that I don't need to agree to. I think a lot of people who feel like they have to fill the silence end up being the people pleasers. Like it's a sign that you're a people pleaser. So I have learned, and I still have to try really hard because also ADHD brain will make you like want to interrupt people, right? I have to pause, take in what you said, and then respond. When I'm not feeling obligated to respond, I'm not so quick to be like, oh yeah, I can help you with that. Or yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can be there. Like the quicker you respond, the quicker you will agree to things you didn't mean to agree to. You'll walk away from that conversation being like, wait, why did I do that? I don't want to do that. It's okay to be like, let me get back to you on that. Let me check something. Let me check my schedule. What I think is helpful for people like us who jump the gun on responding to things because we feel awkward and uncomfortable is coming up with phrases and things that will slow down the conversation and slow down you having to give an answer. It's okay to get back to somebody. It's okay to follow up. It's okay to take a moment to process. So like, instead of being like, oh my God, yeah, I can do that, why don't you just try like, let me check my schedule and I'll let you know. Or like, thanks for letting me know about that. I'm going to make sure I don't have anything else booked over that. Like, just give yourself time to not commit to everything. Okay. Because then when you're burnt out and you're feeling like you don't have help, you also got to be real with yourself about how much you're committing to things and not prioritizing yourself at all. So pause, think about it. And if you don't want to give an answer, don't give an answer. Just say, I'm going to let you know. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'll let you know. They're not going to think twice about that. Okay. You are the only one overanalyzing it. And that's a big part of the situation that you have to realize is you are the one who's being so hard on yourself. And I kind of touched on this already, but you've got to remain calm. You've got to remain direct. Calmness and being direct is a really big part of asserting yourself. And I think that especially when you're communicating your needs, right? Like, let's go back to the move that I was saying. If I came in there emotional and distraught, it would already just shut down AJ. I can tell you that. He's going to be like, whoa, like, what did I do? And he's probably going to have, without even realizing it, more of a defensive approach to whatever I say. So it's really important to try to pick the right time and place to have whatever conversation you need to have. And if you can't be calm and direct in that moment, maybe it's not the time. And it's not that women are like overly emotional at all. Like, your emotions are valid, but that's what they want to use against us. So don't give them the leverage of being like distraught over something. Calm yourself down and then communicate that. It's kind of like when it comes to, I feel like as a Black woman, it's really frustrating when you want to like express frustrations, because if anyone else did it, it would just be like, okay, here's a complaint, right? But there's this stereotype of an angry Black woman. So it's upsetting when there is something that's genuinely not right. And me as a Black woman bringing that to someone's attention, being like, hey, this isn't how I like it. This is not what we asked for. You know, I've had to train myself, and I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to. I've had to train myself to have a cool, calm demeanor, because I've learned that if you have any bit of emotion that comes with that, you're labeled something you shouldn't be labeled. And I think that women in general kind of get the same brunt of, oh, here you go, like, women lead with their emotions, like, da da da. I mean, we literally heard it so much. People who wanted to say, for example, Kamala Harris wasn't fit. It's crazy in 2024 that some people were still using reasonings because she's a woman and women are too emotional. Like, that's crazy. Have your opinions, but like, to say that is so wild. Like, you can still display all of the signs and you can still prove to people that you are that, but you just have to remember they're always looking for you to slip. They're always looking for you to slip. So anyways, don't give people a reason to change the subject and make it about your emotions. You know, make that one less thing. Here's the thing. I've been in a room with men and women, and men have such a different way of approaching certain topics. I always like to use money, for example. They just like talk about it. They're just like, oh, like, yeah, how much do you make? Like this. There's just like some different energy over there. And then meanwhile, like, women have a very different approach to talking about money. This is what I've observed. Maybe you've seen different, but especially like when it comes to asking for money, you know, women feel like they can't even talk about it, that it's rude or whatever. But here's the thing, as an entrepreneur who has to, you know, talk to brands and literally be like, hey, here's my rate. I can't, that wasn't working for me. So I really started to lean into more of a masculine approach when it came to that, because before I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, this is what I normally charge. And I know, like, if that's out of your budget, just let me know what works for you. Like, ugh. Stop. You will never hear a man talk like that. They will say, here's the number. Get back to me. Doesn't work for you? Cool. But part of that is also having an inner confidence too. Part of that is also validating yourself and your work and your worth. So some of that has to be some inner work where you can go back and say, like, no, I deserve this. This is what I want. This is what I'm worth. If it doesn't work, we're just maybe not meant to work together or whatever, right? But I use that example because there really is a difference in that approach. And I've tried to really adopt a more masculine demeanor when it comes to that because it's no issue for them. And here's the thing, if you're not asking for it, you're not getting it. I used to not even say the numbers that I thought that I was worth because I thought it was too much. But you have to ask for it. And it's okay to ask for it, and it's okay to have back and forth conversations about it. It's okay for the other person or other party to ask you questions. Don't let that scare you out of standing on business. So yeah, be calm about it, but be direct, you know? As you guys know, we have a baby bestie on the way in 2025, and I'm already experiencing the first time mom anxieties. So I've been looking for the best baby products to keep baby safe and my mind at ease. The Nanit baby monitor is one that I'm so excited to use. This baby monitor allows you to see your baby anytime, anywhere using the Nanit app. The high def camera captures every precious moment, so we never miss a milestone and we know our baby's safe. Nanit allows you to track your baby's breathing and sleep patterns and will send you personalized insights. This adds up to more sleep for your baby and more rest for you. In fact, Nanit parents get an extra 36 nights of sleep a year, and Nanit babies sleep 10% longer than average. The Nanit baby monitor is a must-have, and of course, our listeners get a special offer. Get 20% off your first order with code DREAM20. That's DREAM20 at nanit.com. That's NANIT.com. Okay, and then I think it's really important that you stop over apologizing. Sorry to bother you. Sorry to stop. You got to understand when an apology is warranted. I really do think that over apologizing is annoying. Okay. I used to work with someone who said sorry before every sentence, and I stopped working with her. I was like, dude, love you, but stop. There are things that you need to apologize for. Like, for example, if you waste people's time, right? Let's say you have dinner reservations at 6 p.m. and you're showing up at 6:45. Well, that's annoying. That's rude. Say sorry. Maybe say sorry because everyone's been waiting for you. They can't go to their table. Okay. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, actually. Don't do that. Respect people's time. That you should apologize for. If you are emailing someone and they haven't gotten back to you, you don't need to say sorry. Sorry for bothering you. You don't, no, they need to do their job. Okay. Just be like, hey, I'm kindly following up on this. Let me know your thoughts. I also think people really do perceive over apologizing as some kind of weakness, because I'm telling you, when I was in corporate America and there were the interns who were sorry. It wasn't what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. People aren't oh, she's so nice. They're okay, calm down. It's okay. Because that would be the conversations that people were having is yeah, the interns look scared shitless, and it comes off as you're afraid. Don't let people think you're scared of anything. If you're doing your job, or if you're basically just having a conversation, following up on something you need an answer on, that does not warrant an apology. You apologize when you actually have affected people's time, energy. If you made a mistake and did something wrong, that's when you apologize. We as women collectively have got to stop apologizing. We deserve more apologies, okay? Everyone should be apologizing to women. Women don't need to keep apologizing for things that they didn't even do wrong. It's not our job. So just be mindful of how many times a day you're saying sorry. Relax. You're fine. But yeah, you guys, I'm going to leave it here because I think these are some really good ones to start with when it comes to asserting yourself in spaces, particularly as a woman. This definitely is targeted more towards the women, like I said, because I know we've been socialized to go about life a certain way. But I would love to know in the comments, what tactics are you using to assert yourself? How do you help yourself be more direct in asking for things you want and communicating the things you need? Let us know in the comments if there's anything that's worked really well for you, or if you have any of those really good phrases, instead of saying no, because people think just no period is mean, and it's not. But people would say that sometimes. What other things could you say that make you feel better instead of saying no? Say, thanks for thinking of me. I'll get back to you. Some of the phrases we were coming up with. I love to hear that too. But anyways, if you liked this episode, give us 5 stars. Follow us on the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple, literally everywhere. Okay. Just make sure you follow us so that you get the little notification and you don't miss out. And yeah, if you like this, share it with a friend, share it in your Instagram story. Like, let me know you're watching, tag me. And oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure we hit 1,000 followers on our TikTok account. So now we get a link in bio, so we can link these episodes now from TikTok. It's so exciting. It's been really annoying because we'll have like every now and then one of the TikToks like pop off and they're like, what podcast is this? Where are the episodes? And I don't know. People just aren't like very self-sufficient these days in researching anything. And it's like, well, my username is the name of the podcast, but also it's in the bio, the name of the podcast. So literally, like, just look us up, man. So maybe we'll get some new viewers now because we can link the episodes. But anyways, thank you for joining. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you on Monday.